In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to buy in a tight market. So now, what is a tight market? A tight market is a market that we're experiencing right now in 2022. We've experienced it in 2021 and even in 2020. There is a lot of demand for housing. We have low inventory, which means less houses available, and interest rates are still incredibly favorable, so it's a great time to buy. So that means every house that goes up for sale has lots of activity around it. So here's 5 tips on how to stand out and get your offer accepted in a tight market. Number 1, get pre-qualified for a mortgage. This sounds very basic, but before you even go search, you want to talk to a lender and make sure that all your ducks are in a row financially. So if you do find the perfect house, you're able to move forward with it. I've had a few examples of people where the first house they see is the house they purchase. And if they weren't pre-qualified or ready to go in terms of having their mortgage paperwork ready, they would have missed out on that house. Second tip is be ready to make a decision. I think there's a difference between observing the market and being in the market. Like I said before, I've had people buy the first house they see, and that was only because they've sat with me and talked about what do they want. They said, we want 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with a basement, and we'd love a pool. Well, the first house I took them to had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with a basement, and it had a pool, and they bought it. 1 house, 1 showing, and they've lived there since 2014. It does happen, but it only happens because they were ready with what they wanted before they entered the market. My third tip is to offer strong first. And this is where most people make a misstep. I've talked about this in the past. They think that they go into a house and they offer the seller $25,000 less, and they get upset that the seller didn't even counter. Well, if you're the seller's only offer, that's a different story. If there's 7 other offers and you offer $25,000 less than everyone else, why would they counter your offer? Those other offers, in theory, have bid competitively, usually at list price or over list price. And here's the thing. My goal as your agent is to get you the house with the best terms possible, but still get you the house. So our strategy is going to change based on each and every house. Each and every house is different. The strategy is different based on many factors, which probably too far involved for this video. But offering strongly first is one of the number 1 things you can do to get your offer accepted in this tight market. 4th tip is keep contingencies to a minimum. So what is a contingency? A contingency is something that has to happen before you can move forward with the sale. Common contingencies are inspections, appraisals, financing. Those things are all still pretty common. It's gonna be really rare for me to ever suggest that you waive an appraisal, waive an inspection. I really don't do it. We could do an as-is inspection, which is different than waiving an inspection. So really quick, waiving an inspection is we're not gonna even do an inspection. And as-is is we're still gonna do an inspection, but if we don't discover any undisclosed defects, so if there's nothing that we found that's new, that's an issue, we're not going to ask for any repairs. So that's a big difference. We're still doing an inspection. We still know what we're getting, but we're just not going to ask for any repairs. But remove all your contingencies. If you have a house to sell, I'm going to strongly suggest that you get that house under contract before you write an offer. Because what you'll end up doing is you'll end up spinning your wheels. You're going to find a perfect house, and you're not going to be able to be competitive because you have a house to sell. It's better to get that house under contract and then find that perfect house than the other way around. So keep your contingencies to a minimum is my 4th tip. My 5th and final tip is don't get caught in a buying frenzy. Just because there's a ton of activity around a house, just because there's tons of showings and there's tons of offers, don't get swept up in that. You want to look at the house objectively and make sure it's the right house for you. Because my disaster as an agent is you call me 6 months later and you say, hey, we paid 20 grand over asking for this house and we don't love it. We don't want to live here anymore. At the end of the day, you will find your perfect house eventually, but don't get caught up in all the emotions and the fear of missing out and all these things. just because, you know, it's a tight market. So we got to bid on any house that comes on the market. You want to find the house that works for you and your needs. So if you have any questions about this and how to buy in a tight market, feel free to contact us below, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.